Photo, Joseph Chirume. GroundUp People stand in a long queue at Crossroad taxi rank in Port Elizabeth on Wednesday morning. By GroundUp StaffCommuters across the country battled to get to work on Wednesday when bus workers went on strike. The workers were represented by South African Transport and Allied Workers Union, Satawu, Tirisano Transport and Services Workers Union and the National Union of Metalworkers of South Africa. About 80 workers picketed outside the Public Utility Transport Corporation, PUTCO, and Ray-Via depots in Dobsonville, Soweto, south of Johannesburg. Bus workers' salaries are negotiated at the SAW Road Passenger Bargaining Council by the unions and the employer organizations, the Commuter Bus Employers Organization and the SAW Bus Employers Association. Negotiations started in January but have deadlocked, and on the 15th of April the unions gave employers notice of their intention to strike. Satawu spokesperson Fanuel Mbombi told GroundUp the unions were demanding a 12% increase but the employers would only agree to 6.7%. Algoa Bus Company CEO Sicelo Deus issued a press release on Monday, saying that employers had offered a 3-year wage increase of 7% in Year 1, 7.15% in Year 2 and 7.5% in Year 3. This has been rejected, he wrote. A union spokesperson said workers are willing to settle for a 10% increase and that negotiations will resume at 10 a.m. on Thursday. Workers also want night shifts to be between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. instead of between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m., and they want changes to the dual labor system, where a second driver who is not at the wheel is paid AR 400 monthly allowance. They want full pay for both drivers. The union are also demanding compensation for nights away from home and decent accommodation for drivers. The current travel and subsistence allowances are $595 a day. We work 6 days a week and it's a hectic day. Sholile Delimini, 50, has been a bus driver at Ray-Via for 2 years. We work 6 days a week and it's a hectic day. We wake up early in the morning to be at the depot by 4 a.m. We then have to take the passengers to their work by 5 a.m. It's a strenuous job and we are not getting paid enough, said Delimini. She said she currently earns $9,400 a month. It's too little because everything has gone up, including that. I must make sure that I take care of my family and do everything as a mother, but I can't do that with the little money that I get, said Delimini. Happy Sabalan, 33, has been a bus cleaner for 2 years. She currently earns about $6,000 and finds it hard to support her 3 children. We just earn the minimum. For example, I earn the same amount of money as someone who started today, even though I've been working for the company for 2 years. She said she had not received an increase in salary since she started working for the company. We only get increases when we go on strike like this, otherwise we would not be here today, said Sabalan. Transport unions say the bus strike will continue indefinitely until an agreement benefiting all workers is reached. I'm late bus customers rushed for trains or taxis to get to work on Wednesday. A Khayelitsha resident working in Rondebosch stood at the Site C rank from 5:30 a.m. for 2 hours before catching a taxi to work. Normally she would make it in time to start her 7 a.m. shift, but on Wednesday she arrived 2 hours later. She has a weekly ticket that costs her $137 on a Golden Arrow bus, but now she will have to spend $58 on a return trip using 3 taxis in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. Her husband was still waiting at the taxi rank by 8:30 a.m. and had also been standing in line since 5:30 a.m. Golden Arrow said that 230,000 passengers used its buses daily. In the city center, GroundUp tried to interview frantic commuters. I'm late, said Mark Lee as he got out of a taxi on his way to work. He said that it took him over 2.5 hours to get to the city center this morning. He arrived at Cape Town taxi rank at 7:45 a.m. I'm very late now. I left home in Parkwood at 5 this morning, waited for over half an hour at Wynberg taxi rank, where he switches taxis, and only arrived here now. Queues were long at Nyanga taxi rank. At 7:30 a.m., a commuter who identified herself as Siki said she had been in the queue to get to Wynberg since 6 a.m. I will probably get to work around 10 a.m. because I am still at the back of this long queue and who knows what the roads look like. Maybe there is traffic. But I told my employer that I would be late, and he knows about the strike. A commuter from Gugulathu said he was worried about his grade 10 nephew whom he left at home because there was no bus to get to school. He buys a monthly bus ticket, he goes to Walmer High School, and unfortunately there is no money for him to take a taxi to school. If this strike does not end, he might miss a lot of classes. Mumbles and complaints could be heard in the queues as people said they hoped that the strike would end on Wednesday. On the Claremont route in Cape Town there were too many commuters to fit in the taxis. This added more waiting time for commuters. Metro Rail and rain adds to commuter woes. Cape Town commuter problems were compounded by Metro Rail. At 8 a.m. the taxi rank at Mutual Station in Pinelands was quiet. One commuter said this was because 2 trains to Cape Town on the Northern Line had been delayed by more than 2 hours. Anil, 28, from Philippi told GroundUp that he had waited in line at the taxi rank near his home for over 30 minutes. I got there after 5 a.m. and only got here after 7 a.m. And now I'm waiting for the 6:50 a.m. train to come. There are no buses, and the trains are delayed, he said. Byron McKenzie from Bonteheuwel said he usually traveled by bus to college in Pinelands but was forced to walk through Langa this morning. It's not that far to walk to Langa rank, but it's dangerous that time of the morning. When I got here they said class was cancelled, so now I'm going back and have to walk from Langa into Bonteheuwel again, he said. Getting home may be even harder. It finally started raining hard in Cape Town on Wednesday afternoon, and although the city's residents will welcome the rising dam levels, traffic on the already congested roads will move even slower. In Port Elizabeth, thousands of people who depend on the Algoa bus company were stranded early on Wednesday. Malabang Waisini of Motherwell works in Newton Park. Though he works an afternoon shift, he had to go to work early today to avoid having to pay twice because the taxis only go straight from Motherwell to Newton Park in the morning. In the afternoon I have to take 2 taxis, Margaret Jam, who is a domestic worker in Quanobile, Uidenhage. She said though there was a direct bus from Motherwell to Quanobile, there were no direct taxis. I have to pay about R20 to Uidenhage town then R10 to Quanobile, compared to Algoa Bus Company where the journey costs R13. There were long queues at the popular Crossroad taxi rank in Motherwell in the morning. School children were pushing to be first in the queues and tackling taxi marshals demanding priority. Nola Thondo, who goes to school in New Brighton, said she was afraid of arriving late. Our principal always locks out latecomers. I pray the principal will understand our plight. But taxi driver Archie Makumani is doing well off the strike. It's busy today as you can see. I am glad because I will be able to pay my monthly cell phone bill. I wish the situation could continue like this.